this to a few dedication, short one, Be'ezat Hashem, Refuah Shlema leBaruch Chai ben Chaya MIRIAM, Zavit Batova, and lehavdil Mazal Tov to Shlomo ben Levitin, Be'ezat Hashem, for their new engagement. Refuah Shlema to Aaron ben Masuda, Be'ezat Hashem, Refuah Shlema to everybody. So Parashat BALAK, Parashat BALAK, by the way, is just so you know, is the only event in the history of Israel since they left Egypt that nobody knew about. Neither Moshe, neither Sanhedrin, nobody.
It's all behind the scenes.
It's all on top of the mountains on the Arvot Moab, as we say today, which is the Jordan plains above. The people of Israel are about to come to the land of Israel. The year is 2488. It's almost Pesach. Actually, it's almost Rosh Hashanah. And nobody knows. Even Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know. There is three people involved in this. Balak, Bilaam, and I'm sorry, not a person, God, Hashem. Three parties involved in this. Our sages instituted this originally to be part of Shema Israel. We cover our eyes, we say Shema Israel, it's because of Parashat Balak. Even when we don't see, Hashem saves us. The whole event, they come to curse the people of Israel. They build 7 different altars, 42 sacrifice. Nobody knows. Originally, the Tanaim says you should be part of Shema Israel. That's why we cover our eyes. Whenever you cover your eyes, why? Because Hashem, tzilcha al yad yaminecha, yomam Hashem yishlo yakeka v'erach balal. Hashem guard us every time, whether we see it or not. So the Torah says, Vayar Balak ben Tzipor et kol asher asa Israel ha'emori. Remember last week we read that Moshe Rabbeinu killed the 2 giants, right? The Og Melech HaBashan and Sichon Melech ha'emori. Those 2 giants were hired to save all the people in the Middle East. Imagine 2 giants that they were very, very much the military of the 7 nations that was occupying the land of Israel. The Hittite, the Amorite, the Yevusi, Girgashi, and on and so forth. And Moshe Rabbeinu kills them. Now Balak ben Tzipor says he's the son of a bird. What's the son of a bird? By the way, this is the first drone in the world.
First what?
Drone. An actual drone. The Zohar says Balak had the power to take, he made a bird out of gold, copper, silver, and he will leave it every day, and he add live bird's tongue, live bird's eyes, and this bird will become like a drone. Whatever the bird flies, he could see. You heard of the word Windows, right? Windows, originally, the program Windows was created in Israel. It was bought by Bill Gates. What Windows? 3 people used those Windows. Avimelech, Melech Plishtim, he says, Vayar Bachalon. He saw Yitzchak and Rivka not acting as brother and sister. And then we know that here, Balak ben Tzipor, Bachalon also, and the mother of Sisera, right? Sisra. Imosha Sisra, Rata Bachalon, Vatayabev. By the way, you know who is Sisra to us? Sisra is the grandfather of Rabbi Akiva. When Yael slept with Sisra, they had a son, Yosef, and Rabbi Akiva is the son of Yosef. Yosef converted. So really, technically, Sisera is the grandfather of Rabbi Akiva. So here says the Torah, Vayegar Moab mipnei ha'am me'od ki rav hu, vayekatz Moab mipnei bnei Israel. All of a sudden, he's terrified. Why? He sees like 3.6 million people outside of his land, our land, but he's the occupiers that we know until Hashem will bring them in. And he was terrified. Why? He says, ויאמר מואב אל זקני מדיין עתה ילחכו הקהל את כל סביבותיו כלכוך חשור את ירק השדה. It says really, in a sense, they see the Acharit HaYamim. In the end of days, this is, by the way, some of the prophecy of Acharit HaYamim, that you see the people of Israel will be so many, and when Avraham Avinu was blessed that your people will be like the stars, right? And like the sand in the beach, right?
It'll take a long time before we get that number.
Yeah, so, technically the stars is when we are very good. We are the, in this parasha it says, Am levadad ishkon, bagoyim lo itchashav. It says that we are with Hashem, we like the star, we lead, nobody cares about us. But when we are not like Hashem, we're like the sand We're not with Hashem, we leave Hashem. We're like the sand. You know, the sand always moves, right? The ocean comes, the water moves the sand here and there. And you have basically the people of Israel spread all over the oceans in the world, right? In every beach you go, you'll see Jews. Right? You go to any place in the world. You go to Africa, you go to Europe, Australia, whatever you see, there's Jews in the beach, right? The sand. You know, by the way, how you make glass? You know how to make glass?
You use sand.
Sand. You burn sand.
Fire!
You burn sand.
Yeah.
That's how you make glass. Where was the first glass in the Torah mentioned? King Solomon. When he had built the Bet HaMikdash, he had glass. Chalonot zchuchit. It was glass. So here it says that Balak ben Tzipor, Melech Moab ba'et ha'i. He is the king only in that time. You know, Balak was not really Moabite. Balak was the grandson of Yitro, Midianite. But because he was a strong king, they hired him to be the king of Moab. Then he called Bilam. Bilam ben Be'or Petora, asher al eretz bnei amo likro lo. He says, I'm going to hire Bilam. Bilam, by the way, was the grandson of Lavan. Meaning, is almost like a cousin to Yaakov.
His uncle. Lavan was their uncle.
Yes, what I'm saying, the son,
Yes, sir.
Bilam is the grandson of Lavan. So now you have basically two guys, Balak and Bilam. You know, Balak says, I want you to come and curse them. Ara liotam. Ara, the word the Torah says, Ara is Elul Rosh Hashanah. Bilam knew that there is a time when he can succeed cursing the people of Israel. It's the 40 days of Slichot. From Aleph Be'elul until Yom Kippurim. In the middle you have Rosh Hashanah. Ara, Elul, Rosh Hashanah. It's an acronym. It said, come curse them for me. You know, you heard there is a term in, he sends, the Torah says, he sends, וَيَلْخُ זِكْنَي مُؤَابِ وَزِكْنَي مِدْيَانِ وَكْسَمِيم بَيَدَم. They have magic in their hand. You know, the word ksamim in Gematria is 250. Balak says to Bilam is exactly the time. They have 210 years from Egypt, 40 years in the desert, is exactly the right time to be cursed. You know, very, very interesting. There is rega, it's called rega. The Gemara says when there's a moment that anybody can either be blessed or cursed in one moment. Splits of a second. And Bilam and Balak, they almost knew how to time that curse. And of course, they come to Bilam, say, listen, we have some, request by Balak. We want to curse the people of Israel. And what Bilam says to him, why don't you stay here tonight and let's see what Hashem says. You heard the word Dir Balak in Hebrew? Samata Dir Balak, right? Aravit is a slang. Dir Balak in Arabic, in Hebrew, is like, be careful. When somebody says, Dir Balak, be careful. So he says, stay here the night. Then he writes a letter to Balak. He said, Dear Balak, even if you fill my house with a lot of money and gold and this, I still cannot. Hashem says doesn't want you to go with you. You know, Hashem come to Bilam. It comes to him. Usually, Hashem talks to Moshe, right? Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe. But with Bilam, Hashem says, come to him. Hashem came to him. Why? You know, until that moment, there were 7 prophets to the non-Jews in the world. Bilam was the last one. And Hashem always says that, the Gemara says that there is equal parts of Kedusha, holiness, and equal parts of Tum'ah, of unholiness, impurity. And it's always the balance changes according to the acts. So one day the Goyim will say, if we had somebody like Moshe, it will be the people of Israel too. Hashem says, I gave you Bilam. I spoke to him like I spoke to Moshe. And you guys did not take the chance. And he was the last prophet to become of the Goyim. And of course, Hashem says to him, who are these people? Well, Hashem doesn't know who are these people. It's like Hashem coming to Adam and says, Ayeka. You know, when Adam sinned, Ayeka is in Hebrew also an acronym. Elohim Yodea Kol Anistarot. Hashem knows everything. What are you hiding? This is the chance to make tshuva. When Hashem came to Adam and says, Ayeka, he says, I give you a chance to do tshuva. Same thing here. He says, who are these people? I gave you the prophecy. By the way, Bilam, you saw the movie Shrek
Yeah,
with the donkey?
yeah.
That's from Bilam,
Yeah.
right?
Eddie Murphy, baby.
That's right. It says, וישובו שרי מואב עם בלעם, ויבוא אלוהים אל בלעם, ואומר, מי האנשים האלה? So, sometimes he says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he give a chance. He says to Bilam, לא תלך עמהם. You should not go with them. Right? And then he says, after the second night, go with them.
However,
But, so says the Khatam Sofer, Rabbi Schreiber says something beautiful. He said, there's two kinds of going with somebody. You can go somebody with their purpose or just walk with somebody. What Hashem says to don't go imaim, don't do what they want you to do, but go with them. In a sense, Hashem gives choice. The one thing that we never ever, not taken from us is the power of choice. We can choose, right? Every day you wake up in the morning,
Melech HaMames, we're waiting for it.
That's right. He said, "Vayashkem Avraham baboker." Right? Avraham
Wake up in the morning.
woke up before the sun. He said, if you wake up before the sun, like all of you tzaddikim, you come to shul every morning. You come before the sunrise. Vayashkem Avraham. You want to defeat Malach HaMavet? Get up early. Vayashkem Avraham. Nachon? Bilam, Vayakom Bilam. Bilam got up after the sun because he needs the sun in order to do these evil curses. But Hashem says to you, by the way, the entire 3 times that Bilam curses the people of Israel, it's actually blessing. Ruach HaKodesh, Hashem says, you'll speak what I say. So everything that Bilam says is from Hashem. One of the most famous, and we know our friends have the Sidurim in Chabad and Ashkenaz, the first opening verse is what? Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, mishkonetecha Israel. It's here from Bilam. How great are your tents of Yaakov? Ma tovu alecha Israel in Gematria 310. 310 is how many worlds to the tzaddikim. Hashem says, Lo'avai yesh olamot. I give 310 worlds to the tzaddikim that get up early, that go in my ways. And when it says, we have a thing, the Torah in the 10 Commandments says, Lo tirtzach, right? What lo tirtzach mean? You should not murder, right? Unfortunately, in our Chumashim of our scroll is a mistake, huge mistake. When you look at the 3 times where they have 10 commandments in the Torah, in all 3 times, first one, of course, in Yitro, Lord Tirtzach, they write the English, you should not kill. That's not true. You're allowed to kill. Haba leorgecha, hashkem leorgo. Whoever somebody come to kill you, you kill them first. But you're not allowed to murder. A very, very big difference. So haba leorgecha, hashkem leorgo. Somebody come to kill you, kill them first. It's allowed. It's a mitzvah. It's mitzvah ta'aseh. And Avraham Avinu says, vayashkem Avraham baboker. Get up early, then you can defeat Yetzer Hara. The whole amazing process of this Parashat Bilam and Balak, we have the Aton, right? The Aton was the donkey female that Bilam was actually sleeping with. Yes. If you look, what's the Aton was, there's 2 animals that spoke in the Torah. In the whole 5 books of the Torah, only 2 animals, the snake and the donkey. Together they spoke 49 words, 26 and 23. How many gates of impurity we have? 49. It says something amazing. When it comes to a magician, the Torah said that the magician does the magic and then he sleeps with the animal. All the goyim, that's the magician. For Tumah, you have to reach the highest level, is he has to sleep with an animal. Now this Aton, by the way, this Aton, this female donkey, she does 3 things. First, she starts talking to him. He's still not getting it. Like a donkey spoke to you, you'll probably freak out, right? Imagine an animal start talking to you. And what she does, she hits him against a wall. You know what this wall was? Yaakov and Lavan made an agreement. When Yaakov left the house of Lavan, it was in Aleph Be'av. And then on the 7th of Av, Lavan reached him. And they made a covenant. They built Gal'ed, the Torah says, right? It's called Matzeva. This is Yaakov and the grandfather of Balak, Lavan, had an agreement not to fight again, ever. That the donkey hits the leg of Bilam in that wall, says, listen, this is the agreement. Your grandfather here, your grandfather did an agreement with Yaakov. You know, by the way, this is the only two words in the Torah that's not Hebrew. Lavan called it Yagar Shehuduta. Yaakov called it Gal'ed. There's two words in the whole Torah that's not Hebrew.
Anochi.
Huh? Anochi Zani. It's Hebrew. Of course. And he says that, this wall that she hit him, he says to him, look, what are you doing? Don't you know your grandfather have an agreement with Yaakov? And then in an open field, and then the 3 times that she's trying to avoid, and she says to him, why are you hitting me? You sleep with me, you're like your wife. What is wrong with you? I'm an abused wife now. And he doesn't wake up. And what she did, his sword fell. And when he see the angel, it says, V'charbo shlufa beyado. It said that the angel holding his own sword. And he will be died, and Be'ezat Hashem, by this sword. Pinchas will kill him by his own sword. Bilam was one of the 3 advisors to Pharaoh. There was Yitro, Eov, and Bilam. Bilam came with the notion of Kol haben hayora tashlichu. He gave the idea to throw all the boys into the river. And he said that moment, Eov left, as we know. He suffered, but then he actually was rewarded. And Yitro immediately left. Yitro was quiet. Yitro left, Eov was quiet, Bilam was participating. Yitro became the actual, father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. For his merit. When somebody they say that if you hear something bad and you don't participate like Yitro and you leave, you can be rewarded. But if you stay and you're quiet, you'll be punished.
You don't act.
Right? When something happened and you don't, they say whoever doesn't, like the Holocaust, everybody was quiet. Right? How many nations could have saved Israel? The Jewish people that helped them. Everything that, the success of Europe, I don't know if you know, but China was built by 2 Jews. The entire China, 2 Syrian Jews, yes, Mishpachat Kaduri, the richest people in the world, Kaduri and Sassoon, they built China. The entire Jews of Spain built Spain. Abarbanel, for an example, Rabbi Abarbanel was the minister of finance of Fernando and Isabel. He built the whole, basically, Europe. And many rich people, Jewish people. America, Eliyahu Salomon gave money to stop the war and start America. And many nations don't, it's like Yosef, save Egypt. At the time of this, they start blaming Yosef. They forgot everything Yosef did for them. So we understand from here something amazing. You can have Goyim curse all the time. Hashem says very interesting with Abraham, and we'll finish with that. Whoever blesses you will be blessed. Whoever curses you will be cursed. So Be'ezat Hashem, get up every morning like we all do, defeat the Yetzer Hara, and Be'ezat Hashem, all the so-called curses became blessing to the people of Israel. Amen. Thank you so much. Baruchim to you. Thank you.
איך שסיימת,